Our gospel text for today is taken from the Gospel of Mark chapter 6, verses 30 to 34. It is a scene immediately after the disciples have returned from mission, and their mission has been successful. They have been able to heal like Jesus healed. They have been able to exercise like Jesus exercised. They have been able to teach like Jesus taught, and they are elated. Mark begins the gospel text of today by telling us that the apostles returned. The word apostle means one who is sent. And the disciples, when they were sent by the Lord, became apostles. So now the apostles who were sent return and narrate to Jesus the success of mission. The response of Jesus is not excitement, is not elation, but the response of Jesus is to be concerned about his disciples, now his apostles. And therefore, his response to them is, come away by yourselves to a lonely place and rest a while. The rest which Jesus indicates is for two reasons. The first is that it is a physical rest, and the second that it is a rest for introspection and for gratitude. Whenever there is success, God's hand is also at work, and we need to keep that in mind. So when we are at peace, when we are by ourselves, when we introspect and reflect, then we realize that God was with us. So Jesus wants his disciples to have a physical rest, but also to have a spiritual rest where they will realize that the power with which they worked was a power given by God. However, the disciples are not allowed to rest. The apostles are not allowed to rest because the crowd keeps following Jesus. And when Jesus steps out, he sees this huge crowd before him. And even though the text says very clearly, they had no time even to eat, Jesus is not concerned about his own needs, but the needs of the multitude before him. And he looks at them and sees them as sheep without a shepherd. And because of that, he reaches out to them and begins first to teach them a number of things. What does Jesus teach them? We are not told the specifics of the teaching of Jesus, but we could very well imagine from the context that he taught them about God's care, that he taught them about God's love, that he taught them about God's mercy. There are many times in our lives when our work has been successful. There is the danger that when we experience success, we might forget that God is at the root of our success and that God's hand was at work. At those times, we need to take a step back from our success and introspect and reflect and have a spiritual going back to thank God for all that God has given us. Is gratitude away with you, or do you forget about being grateful? Will you remember to be grateful today?